Hey guys, it's Abby, and today I'm going to be doing a Court of Thorns and Roses book talk. In case you guys didn't know, I did do a Court of Mist and Fury book talk, and then I realized I didn't have one for this book. So I basically had to reread some of the book in order to get all these notes for this book talk. And if you wanted to see this book talk because you read this book, then click over it or in the description below, and I will have the book talk that I did on this book in the link. So yeah, let's get started with this book talk. So for the non-spoiler section, basically you guys do not know anything about this book. The main character name is Feyre. That's how it's spelled. Well, that's how it's spelled and that's how it's said. It took me a long time to understand that. But her name is Feyre, and basically this book is set in, like, I want to say medieval time, but there's fae and everything. So anyway, this world, they have humans and they have fae, and the humans know about the fae because there was this huge war like maybe 100 years ago, I don't remember, and they have a huge wall down the middle, and if a human passes that wall, basically the human is free game, because apparently the humans are saying that the fae have the humans as slaves and that anything could happen with the humans because they're in fae territory, so basically they have no say in what happens. And it's actually quite the opposite, because in the fae world there are different, like, kingdoms, basically. They have spring, summer, they have the autumn court, they have the winter court, they have the dark court. There's actually a couple courts beside the main elements, and I don't remember all of them. I will put the list somewhere around my face, but these are literally all of the courts that they have all around the fae side of the wall. And and basically everyone on the human side hates the fae because of the war that happened. However, if you wanted to read this book and still have not picked up this book, I suggest you do it. It was like super easy to get into, especially if you have read The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black, because I read that and then I immediately read this afterward because I was reading it anyway, and it was so easy to get into. I don't think anyone who has read it has complained about it being so hard to get into. And it was just a fast read, and I immediately wanted the second book, and now I just have to wait for the third book to come out in the series. So that is it for this non-spoiler section, and if you have not read this book, do not continue watching because you will be spoiled immensely. Bye! So, in the beginning, Feyre and her family are basically put on hard times. Her mom has died, and her family consists of her father, which I'm pretty sure is a merchant, and her two sisters, which one is older than her and one is younger than her. And basically she is the hunter of the family because no one else in the family really does it. And her older sister basically is still spoiled considering they don't have much. And her father is usually away at weeks at a time, going in and out of their hometown and basically going to sell stuff to try and pay for the family. One day when Feyre is out hunting, she finds a deer, and then she finds a great white wolf. I think it was white or gray wolf, and it is huge. And Feyre's thinking, I have more meat on this wolf than I do on the doe because the wolf is also after the doe. So Feyre starts to hunt the wolf, basically. And basically, Feyre is kind of thinking maybe the wolf is in its maybe the fae is in a wolf form because it was so great, it was so big, and basically she shoots it anyway because she literally hates fae, and she shoots it with an ash arrow. And if you guys didn't know already, ash arrows, like, it's poisonous to fae basically, and they just can't come in contact with it or they die. Not a little while after she kills the wolf, another fae comes to a house demanding that since she killed the wolf, she will go live with him, and he says that the family will be taken care of as long as she goes with him, basically, or he could kill her right then and there. Basically, he says it's a life-for-life treaty because that's the treaty the humans and the fae came up with. So, since she killed a fae, her life belongs to the fae. Does that make sense? I think so. So when she gets to the fae world, she finds out that Tamlin lives in a large manor and he is the High Lord of the Spring Court. She also meets Tamlin's friend Lucien, and she is really surprised when she's not harmed or locked up, and they just kind of let her roam around as long as she's under supervision. As she's coming into the manor, she's realizing that everyone in the household, including Tamlin, always wears a mask all the time, basically 100% of the time. She's always around them. When she asks, she learns that they wear them because there was magic that plagued the land. Basically, the masks are attached to the face. She learns that they went to, well, she doesn't really learn this at this moment, but she ends up learning that they went to a party and something happened, and basically the magic that affected the land had the masks attached to their face still, so they can't take them off until the spell is broken. She doesn't learn it all at this point because at this point then she's not really trusting them and they're not really trusting her because human and fae apparently don't get along that well. So the reason Feyre gets worried about this is because the fae were telling her that they were worried that it will spread to the human lands, basically affect everyone in Feyre's world, and that if they don't find a cure, it'll affect everyone there, and they basically won't have anything to stop it. And the reason Faye was really worried is because her family's there, even though they didn't really get along the best, she still cares for them, but Tamlin assures her that the family is being taken care of by him because he's a High Lord and he has lots of money, basically. That's what's happened. He has lots of money and he's taking care of them as though they were rich and everything, just so she can stay here and she can stop worrying. Over time, while she's there, she realizes that Tamlin's trying to befriend her. Tamlin's trying to get friends with her because he's offering to help her read, help her write, he's giving her all these paint supplies because he found out that Feyre loves to paint, and she's realizing at the same time that Tamlin and Lucien are not telling her the whole story behind what's happening in Prythian, which is basically the world, if I didn't already say that, the Fae world. In order to get answers, Feyre captures a surreal. I don't know how to say it. I've been saying that the whole time I read the series. A surreal. That's how I'm calling it. Just the accent. Which basically is a low fae, which if something happens and they basically have to tell the truth to whoever catches them because they can't lie. The surreal basically tells her that in the land of Hybern, that a powerful and mean king rules, and he basically set the treaty for the humans. 100 years ago, he sent his own fae to the human land to basically spy on the other high fae courts. Then 50 years later, one of his commanders betrays him, and before he could be told, Feyre could be told the rest, she is attacked by Tamlin, and Feyre is attacked and Tamlin comes to her rescue, and the two of them begin a sort of truce after basically, since he saved her life, she's like, okay, maybe I trust him, but not as much as I should. As this is all happening, strange warnings happen to come to the Spring Court. For example, one of the Faes had his wings wrapped around him, detached from his back, and brought over. It was a Spring Court fairy, and brought over to the Spring Court. A Summer Court fairy, sorry. So strange warnings keep coming over to the Spring Court. For example, there was a Summer Court fairy brought to the Spring Court with his wings wrapped around him, basically detached from his body, and Feyre was able to hear, she took them from me, and over time Feyre keeps hearing about her, and she learned that it is the self-proclaimed Queen of Prythian, Amarantha? Is that how you say it? There's something in the back that says it. Yeah, Amarantha. Does that make sense? Basically, what I mean is that, you guys read the book, but she basically killed so many people that she's basically making herself Queen of Prythian. So, yeah. So, there was a summer solstice, which is basically a party that every court, well, the Spring Court has, that they always get together and celebrate the solstice. And Tamlin and Feyre end up sneaking off and kissing in a field during the solstice. The next day, the High Lord of the Night Court, Rhysand, guys, I was saying, throughout this whole book, I was calling him Rhysand for some reason, and I can't really get it in my brain that his actual name is Rhysand. So whenever in the next book when they say Rhysand, it's supposed to be Rhysand and not Rhysand. And if he gets the R-H-Y apostrophe S, it's Rhys. And that confused me throughout the whole book. But he comes the next day and basically shows up and discovers Feyre there, and he gets really crazy. And basically he makes threats and promises nothing. And Feyre lies and tells him a fake name of someone she knew at her, basically in the human world. And Tamlin begs him not to tell Amaranthia about her. So that's why she came up with the fake name, because she knew Tamlin really didn't want her to say her real name. So she says her real name is Claire Bender, which is basically someone she knew in the human world, and she doesn't tell her her name is Freya. Feyre, why can't I say that? After Tamlin decides to send Feyre back to the human world, after that, he gets her sent back to the human world because he doesn't really want to take any chances that Rhys will actually know who she is. But he doesn't send her back until after one last intimate night together. So I hope you guys know what that means, because I'm not going to be explaining in this. This is a YA book. That was a new adult book. So when Feyre gets back to the human world, she realizes that Tamlin did keep his promise, and her family is more than taken care of. They live in a huge manor now. They live as though they were super rich, and basically they are super rich now thanks to Tamlin. But after a couple weeks, another manor is burned down, and it was the manor of Claire Bender, which is basically the name that Feyre gave to Rhysand, saying that it was her. So she gets kind of confused, and she immediately rushes back to where Tamlin and his spring court is supposed to be. When she does get back to the spring court, she finds it ransacked, and basically everyone and everything is basically gone out of the house except Elise, which was basically the servant there, and Elise tells Feyre everything about Amaranthia, which basically how she became queen, what she does, and she tells Feyre that the queen is the emissary of Hybern 100 years ago. So basically the queen was the emissary of Hybern 100 years ago, and she fought in the Mortal War, which basically was the Fae against the humans, and alongside her sister Cynthia, until Cynthia fell in love. The story is Cynthia, which is Amaranthia's sister, fell in love with a warrior, which ended up betraying Cynthia, and Amaranthia has hated humans ever since then. She came without her king's permission and wishes to take Prythian for her own. So basically, the king did not give her permission to come take Prythian. She just went by herself and did it anyway. Fae and humans have been her slaves for 49 years after she stole Prythian and part of their power. Alice tells Feyre that she could have ended it. She could have ended it all. A curse was put on Tamlin and his court after he refused to become Amaranthia's king and consort, basically. He has to find a human girl who killed the Fae, who basically hates the Fae, and make her fall in love with him in order to save the court. And Feyre realizes that she does love him, but she never told him, which basically could have saved everyone. And if you guys read the book, at the part where she was about to say I love him, Tamlin basically said no, don't say anything, and went off. So Tamlin knew that she was going to say what she was going to say, and Tamlin said no, so I'm just reading it like, once we found out that if she said it, she could have saved the court, but Tamlin said don't say anything. Why did Tamlin say that? Questions. So Feyre tells Elise that she wants Elise to take her to Arinthia so she could try and save everyone. And Alice basically tells her that I want to tell you more, but her mouth is basically shut. That like it was so hard for Elise to even say that because they couldn't tell a human because they were magically shut, and if anyone told them they would basically die. And they can't really tell them anyway because if they try to, they can't get the words out enough. And so Elise takes Feyre to Amarynthia, and basically she's found her right away and taken to her anyway when they get to the cave thing. When Feyre gets in front of the queen, Tamlin is already there, and Tamlin is pretending not to know Feyre, so he doesn't really give anything away, and Feyre is basically forced to make a deal with the queen. She has to do 3 tasks, and the Spring Court would basically be saved. With the task Amarynthia gives Feyre, she has to do 1 a month, and Amarynthia also gives Feyre a riddle that if she solves it at any time, even before the 3 tasks are done, the entire Spring Court would be free and they could all walk out. But that's only if she gets the riddle, and she also has the choice of getting all the 3 tasks done, 1 every month, and it's either those 2. And remember, if she gets the riddle done at any time, they're all allowed to go free. So Feyre completes the first task, but her arm is badly injured, so Rhysand, theoretically, comes in and basically has to make a deal with Feyre. Feyre has to make a deal with Rhysand in order for him to heal her, and we find out later on why in the second book, but as of right now we don't know why. So basically she gets healed, but she has like this huge tattoo on her arm that basically tells everyone that sees her that she made a deal with Rhysand, which is basically the Night Court High Lord, in case you guys forgot. And he basically brings her to parties and all these special events to basically flaunt her around in front of Tamlin, who isn't allowed to visit her. And the deal was that for Rhysand to heal her, Feyre has to spend 1 week every month with Rhysand once they get out of Amarynthia's power and the cave and everything. Spoiler, she makes the deal, in case you guys forgot. In the second trial, basically, she has to read something in order to free herself and Lucien, which is Tamlin's right-hand man and her friend. But she can't read because she never learned to read because she was poor growing up in the human world, so she can't read, she can't write, she can't do anything. And there is an tattoo eye on the palm of her hand, which basically allows them to Rhysand and Feyre to have like a psychic link. So Rhysand helps Feyre, and after that, when she's back in her cell, Rhysand admits that he wants to get free of Amarynthia too, and hopes that she wins and Tamlin will shred Amarynthia to pieces. So he hates Amarynthia as much as everyone else, and he's basically rooting for her to help her in and wants to help her win as well, because the reason she won the second one is because Rhysand basically helped her because she couldn't read. The third task that Feyre had to do is absolutely insane. Amarynthia wanted Feyre to kill 3 innocent Fae, and she first killed the first 2, basically saying 3 innocent lives for the rest of the Fae people. So once they got to the third one, they took the hood off because they had hoods on all 3 of them, and it was Tamlin. And the queen is probably thinking, she's not going to kill Tamlin, she's in love with him. So later she figures out all of the clues that Tamlin was hinting when she was in the Spring Courts, and she figures out what Alice couldn't say to help her, and it's basically that Tamlin had a heart of stone because Amarynthia put it that way, and she stabs it into his heart, which basically he's slowly healing because he has a heart of stone, and Amarynthia is livid. Like, she's so mad that Feyre actually did it, and she starts going on saying that she didn't say when exactly she'd let them go, and she basically starts magically breaking every bone in Feyre's body in the most painful way. But as this is happening, she is able to solve the riddle that Amaranthia gave her, and basically she has no choice but to let all of the Spring Court go immediately. Once Tamlin is fully healed, he attacks and kills Amaranthia, but Amaranthia has already broken Feyre's neck, and Feyre's dead. Feyre's soul, though, is able to watch everything that is happening, and through Rhysand, because of the bargain due to their bond, basically, because of their bond, she's still able to hold on, and thanks to him, as Tamlin cradles her and basically is crying, he wants all the High Fae offer up magic, and Feyre becomes High Fae as well, immortal High Fae with a human heart. The mountain is destroyed, but the Feyre feels like there is a hole inside of her because of the incident, where she killed all the innocent Fae, and she is still tied to Rhysand, and will have to end up spending 1 week every month with him in the Night Court, as promised. She, Tamlin, and the rest of the Spring Court go home, and basically Tamlin said that Feyre could stay with her, and that's the end of the book. And then I got that one. Where is it? I got this one, and I was able to read it, and it is amazing. If you have read this and not this, go pick it up. It is amazing. Just a warning, it is new adult, in case you guys didn't know. Okay, so that was the end of A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. If you guys do not know, I'm almost done. The Throne of Glass series I am on, going to read Queen of Shadows, and then all I have to do is Empire Storms, and then I'm officially caught up with all of her books. Don't know why it took me so long to read this. And if you guys don't remember, this is a new copy I bought of A Court of Thorns and Roses, because I bought this, it didn't have this one. So I have not opened this that much yet, besides having to reread some of it, and hopefully it stays that way. I might reread it just to get it back in my heart. But that is it, the end of this book talk. If you have read A Court of Mist and Fury and want to see my book talk on it, click on a box around it, and if you want a phone or a tablet or whatever, the link will be in the description below. And yeah, I'm gonna put this back here so I can finish doing my outro. Literally, you guys have no idea how many times I reorganize just these three because that's what's in the camera. But anyway, click up here to check out my other channel, or click down here to subscribe. I upload every Tuesday and Thursday. All my links will be in the description below. And if you want me to read a book or have any video ideas for me, put them down in the comments below, because I always read all of the comments, and if you guys suggest one, I usually do the video. Again, that is it for this video. Check out, I have no idea when this is uploaded. Check out next Thursday or Tuesday, whichever it is, for my next video, and bye!